Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
It's Monday, February 7th. It is also Super Bowl week. Time to get serious about the big game this coming Sunday, one day before Teddy Covers' favorite holiday of the year, Valentine's Day, next Monday. Prez will be back for St. Valentine's Day next Monday. He is contractually obligated to be here every Valentine's Day. But I'm here this week filling in for the Prez, who's on assignment, joined by my co-host all week, as always, Teddy Covers, WagerTalk.com. And Teddy, we got a great show. We're going to cover some Super Bowl each and every day this week, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific here on WagerTalk Today. Archived 24/7 on WagerTalk TV on YouTube. Also, podcasts are available every day. So you're going to get some Super Bowl information every day. We're going to start off with Marco D'Angelo, little thoughts on the game. Also, two big college basketball games tonight. Let's not forget about the daily actionable sports all week. This is basketball season in February. You're going to look at a big game breakdown, NBA style, between the Raptors and Hornets right after Marco covers that Virginia, Duke, Kansas, Texas, the two big Monday matchups. Also, some EuroLeague basketball. It's not just about NBA and college hoops. Tokyo Brandon, he covers all the international basketball. We're going to look at that as well and then finish it off with some props. I talked about Super Bowl. We will have some props, do and don'ts, from Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com. But, Teddy, before we get to all of that, basketball and Super Bowl, what did you learn this past weekend? Did you see any bad beats, bad bets, anything that was bad for the books?
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. You sit down on Sunday night to put this segment together, and you're like, all right, we'll look through the weekend. Normally during football season, I just look at football. And I didn't even get to Saturday's games because there were enough beats yesterday. I'm like, oh, this segment's going to be too long. Let's just go with what we have. So here's some bad beats just from yesterday. NBA style. If you had the Pistons yesterday, I'm so sorry. All right, they're plus 12.5. They lead after one. They lead at halftime. It's a close game throughout the second half. It's a 5-point game with under 4 to play. You're plus 12.5. All right. It's 115 to 105 under a minute to play Detroit ball. If they make it, they cover. If they miss, the T-Wolves dribble out or hit a layup, and the Pistons still cover. But if the Pistons turn it over right away and then Anthony Edwards hits a step-back three and then Sadiq Bey misses a three and then Minnesota dribbles out and the Pistons lose by 13, that's pretty rough. Never trailed by more than 13. They lost by 13 at the final buzzer. Plus 12.5, no good. But that pales in comparison to anyone that had the Nets Nuggets over yesterday. That total bounced between 228 and 230. All right. And if you didn't get 228 with the push, you had 228.5 or 229 or 229.5 or 230. That was as bad a total beat as you'll ever get. Over 228.5, 40 to 39 after one. It's 76 to 75 at halftime. There are no locks, but you have a 151 at halftime, and you only need 78 points to cash the over in the second half. Second half totals lined at 111. 48 to 29 final. That's 77 points. The Nets didn't score. The Nuggets didn't need to. It lands 228. The last 4 minutes of the game, you have the over. 4 minutes. You get 2 layups, 1 jumper, 1 3-pointer, and 1 of 2 free throws. 10 points total. Not enough. Game stays under despite having 151 at halftime. And, of course, Iowa, Minnesota yesterday. Fun for Big Ten chalk layers. Not. Hawkeyes are up 17 with, 3.5 to go? 71 to 54. And they didn't score again. The Gophers didn't score much either. 1 3-pointer to cut the lead to 14. And then it's brick on one end, brick on the other, brick on one end, brick on the other. Last possession for Minnesota. The rest bailed them out with a foul. Made both free throws. Gophers lose by only 12. Iowa minus 13. No fun at all for Hawkeye backers. That's 3 tough beats from hoops action just yesterday. Bad bets. Look, the smart money keeps coming betting against Providence. And the smart money isn't smart when it comes to that particular basketball team. They're betting against the Friars and losing. Did it against yesterday. Hoya's money +7 down to +5.5. They lost at home by 19. The Friars now 12-3 against the spread at -7 or lower as a dog. Can't lay big points with that team, but they've been great in every other role. And the NBA market's all about the injury info right now. John Collins was in for Atlanta. The Hawks went from +2 to -1.5, and the Mavs beat them by 9. But when it comes to bad for the books got clobbered with NBA line moves yesterday. The one bad bet was the Collins, the money coming for Atlanta. No Zach LaVine for the Bulls. Philly -1.5 to -4. On the money line, I bet a -125 on the money line. It closed at high as -180. And, of course, Philly wire-to-wire wins by double digits. Same story with the Nets Nuggets. The books got clobbered. No Harden. All Denver money. Nuggets win by 20. No Brogdon for the Pacers. LeVert got traded. Boom. Cavs bet up -5.5 to -7.5. They won by 13. And the Pelicans questions whether Hart, Ingram, and Hayes were going to play. They all played. -5 to -6.5. The Rockets won by 13. And, of course, one more bad for the books on that game. Total bet down from 230 to 227. And Lance right on 227. So all the under money cashed as well. And, of course, the Pro Bowl, can't forget that in bad for the books. The total opened as low as 61. The game opened pick'em. Closed AFC -2 and 65. AFC and over with room to spare. 6 first-half interceptions, no problem. The wise guys nailed the side. The public and the wise guys nailed the total. And the Pro Bowl was bad for the books on Sunday. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, I was going to chime in on the Pro Bowl. I was going to say that was definitely bad for the books on both sides in total, as you said, Teddy. I noticed that also went from low 60s to 64.5. The early money hit it. Of course, the public hit it. How can you possibly play the Pro Bowl under, right? So that was one side. And then numerous pick six return for touchdowns in the first half also got it there. It was a debacle of a game. I really have no interest in these anymore like I did maybe 20 years ago. AFC also went from a slight dog to a favorite, as you said, and they covered. Quickly want to point out in college hoops, Providence, you mentioned how they've been a fade. If you look at the Ken Palm rankings, there's 358 Division I teams. They have a luck factor, and we've talked a little bit about it. It's not much of a handicapping factor. It's just teams straight up win records are maybe better or worse than they should be, basically close games. But Providence has been the luckiest team in all of Division I basketball this year, 358 teams. New Mexico State second. And Wilmington, a team I've talked a lot about in the Colonial, is third, Teddy. Your thoughts on that?
So Providence has been number one on that list. It feels like all year. And the betting markets have reacted negatively to the Friars. It feels like all year. And I've learned my lesson. Anyone that stepped in front of them learned their lesson. Lucky, okay, they're lucky. No, they're good. They've got they're consistently making good plays down the stretch of tight games, and that's what well-coached teams do. Nothing but respect for Ed Cooley and company.
Yeah, and what's interesting about Wilmington being the third team on that list is they're now 10-1 straight up in ATS in the Colonial Conference. And, of course, I was at that game at William & Mary Saturday. They won by 22 as a 5-point favorite. They shot 62%. But here, Wilmington will be a fade team in the near future, folks. They're like a 7-point dog at Hofstra tonight as a 10-1 conference team. Because check this out. The 11 conference games, Teddy, they've allowed 48% shooting, and they found a way to go 10-1. So, but as we always say, don't catch that falling knife. It's the reverse. These are speeding bullets, right? Dodge those speeding bullets until they come back down to earth, the Rockets, whatever you want to call them. Providence and Wilmington will be fades maybe at some point. But like you said, Teddy, the Sharps have been getting burnt day after day trying to fade Providence. Anyone's faded Wilmington's gotten burnt as well. So pick your spots, maybe wait for that trend to reverse. We're going to talk some more college hoops here in a couple moments. The two big ESPN national TV games for Monday Night College Hoops. We'll bring in Marco D'Angelo, one of the co-founders of WagerTalk.com. Marco, before we get to college hoops, I want to briefly get some thoughts from you on the Super Bowl. I know you've got a big 5% side play, and by the way, it is $9 Monday. All best bets, all cappers, WagerTalk.com, $9. So it's a great time. I know it's a week away, 6 days away, but folks, it's a great time to lock in on some Super Bowl best bets for just $9. on Monday. So, Marco, big side play for you for your clients. Any thoughts on the total? Anything else you want to look at here in the game while we're talking about it? He just gave away his side best bet there, folks. Now we're going to talk about the total.
No one can hear you, buddy. Yeah, you're still muted.
I can't believe you're using that side, Marco. I thought you were going to be on the other side. Folks, what do you think? Chime in on that side best bet right there.
Yeah. No.
We're going to have Marco back in a moment. I'll
we'll try to get
aside,
Marco back
some audio difficulties. Teddy, the line went from 4.5. I've noticed the offshores are hitting 4 still. The Vegas books mostly 4.5. Your thoughts on where that point spread might end up this weekend?
It's not going anywhere. It'll close 4.5. The total could get bet up a little bit over the weekend. When the public comes into town.
I agree.
As we know, the wise guys are the ones betting this the week before, and the recreational bettors are the ones that come in over the weekend and start to pound the wagers that they like. And generally, you see the Super Bowl. Actually, there are 2 things that are going to move. This total's likely to go up a little bit. I don't know how much it's going to go up. The wise guys really like the under here, so that we may see the total get tampered. I don't know if it's going to get. It's certainly not going to get back up to 50. But at 49, we could see 49 and a half. It wouldn't shock me if the total did get bet up at many books. The other thing we're going to see is the money line for Cincinnati is going to get hit.
I agree totally.
Recreational players. Yeah. Well, what the issue is is for every Super Bowl, it's the same way. The favorite bettors come in and lay the points. The dog bettors come in and take the plus price. So the best bargain for Super Bowl wagers right before kickoff.
Favorite money line, right?
The favorite on the money line. Yeah. Just for the Super Bowl. So we will see the money line, the Bengals bettors. And since he is the public dog, there's no question since he's the public dog here. So I'd say there is at least a modest sharp square divide on this game. With the pros do like LA and the Joes do like Cincy. That said, this is not a game that I'm that worried about a sharp square divide. I've seen the Sharps lose plenty of Super Bowls in my 25 years in Vegas. No better than 50-50 in the big game.
Yeah, and Marco, it's an interesting dynamic because I'm going to have my NFL Fade the Public video, the final edition this weekend. It will be posted, folks, on a Friday night, Saturday morning here. From what I'm seeing now, Cincinnati looking pretty public. I was already seeing that like last week when I was digging into the numbers. And then, of course, Mattress Mac, Marco's boy Mattress Mac, put $4.5 million on Cincinnati. That kind of confirmed that they're a public dog. I believe he was on the Astros over the Braves just to cement that this past fall. But like Teddy said, Marco, the money line is always a public play because whenever you get a quality team that's getting plus money line, all of a sudden the public likes them. We see it in the NCAA tournament, Super Bowl, all these big games. The Rams are less than -200 in some spots, despite being a 4.5 point favorite. Marco once again has a big side play. So Marco, quickly, let's just look at the total. Any thoughts there? Anything that's caught your eye?
Well, the early money came in on the under in this game, and generally you do not see sharps betting unders early in the week, especially on a big game, because they know the public's going to bet the over. So if you trust sharp money, under's the side. But I think it's an overreaction to Cincinnati's recent games. And if you look at the games, other than Kansas City game, they played teams that really weren't doing anything offensively, and those games were tight games, so they were played conservatively. I think you're going to see a little more wide open game in this one with both teams. So I'm going to be looking for some props that coincide with the handicap. If I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, I'll look to the over, but I'll look at props that lean that way to my thinking as well, maybe some team totals.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about props here later in the show with Bryan Leonard, some do's and don'ts. And I'm pretty sure, guys, one of the do's or don'ts is going to be about correlation, between your props and your overall game bets. It's something I preach every year for over 25 years now about if you like a certain, basically your props are going to be dictated on how you think the game is going to play out. And you got to be very careful. If you think it's going to be a high scoring game, like Marco say, more over props maybe, right? Then all of a sudden you've got 4 or 5 units on a similar correlated outcome when you maybe didn't realize you had that much risk. We'll get into some more props here later in the show. As Marco said, the under was hit hard. Teddy said it as well. Do you think we'll see maybe some buyback from the public this weekend? 48.5 is a dead number. 49.50 dead numbers. I doubt it'll ever get back up to 51, which is a very key number. Marco, 2 big games, though, in college hoops. We're talking Super Bowl all week, but Folks, if you want to make money, basketball season is here in February. This is your daily sport. We've got more money-making opportunities right now on Monday than we're going to have with the whole Super Bowl combined. 2 big Monday ESPN games. Let's start off with the ACC, Virginia-Duke. This one is interesting to me because obviously Virginia always plays very slow. Duke likes to play faster. They just had a huge game Saturday against UNC. Marco, I know how you think. I've known you long enough. Is this, first of all, a fat and happy spot for Duke? And also that tempo edge is pretty appealing to me with Virginia slowing them down maybe.
Yeah, you're close. Fat and sassy is the phrase
Sassy.
I like to use.
I didn't want a trademark violation.
Is,
I'm too smart to do that.
Yeah, and definitely this qualifies as that. And what's great about college basketball, guys, for me, I'm a big situational guy. Yes, I look at stats because you still have to have the fundamentals, but I like situations. In college basketball, more so than any other sport, and this is why I like it better, in some instances than college football, because it's a 30-game season, and there's ebbs and flows throughout the season, and there are so many great, juicy spots where teams are either coming off big games or have a big game. And I'll tell you what, you couldn't have had a bigger game for Duke last week. They had 2 in a row. First of all, they played 3 road games in 10 days. And the last 2 were at Notre Dame, which was a battle for sole possession of first place in the ACC. Okay, check that mark. They get that done. And then Saturday night, Duke goes into North Carolina. We know the history of the rivalry. When it comes to college basketball, there's no rivalry like Duke, North Carolina. It's like Michigan, Ohio State in college football. And what made this one so special is Duke went into North Carolina in the last time that Coach K is going to go into the Dean Smith Center and play North Carolina. His kids wanted to get him that win, and they did. Now they come back home and play a Virginia team that I think is peaking at the right time. The other thing I like about college basketball is because it is a 30-game season, teams aren't the same generally at the end of the season that they are at the beginning. Virginia was a team that only brought back 1 starter. They're gelling right now and now starting to play that Virginia style of basketball as you're seeing them shut down defense. Remember, this is a team that opened the season just 6-4. And you say 6-4, that's great. Well, for a team that generally hasn't lost 4 games in a season the last few years, Virginia, that was not a good Virginia addition. I like them tonight. I think this game is priced too high. I think this is a flat spot for Duke. I'm going to take the points in Virginia. Can they pull the upset? Probably not, but 12 points is a lot of points to be working with a team like this, and I'll take my shot with Virginia.
So Virginia's only been a dog in this point spread range twice all year. They've only been a dog of +5 or higher twice all year. They lost by 20 to Houston, and they lost by 16 to North Carolina. Even though this series history is one tight meeting after the next, we haven't seen a point spread in this range or a margin of victory in this range in the last 10 meetings. Does it worry you that Virginia has not stepped up in class particularly well this year?
Well, again, and going to my point, though, Teddy, those games that you prefaced one was in December and the other one was the beginning of January. As I said, as we're into February, this Virginia team's a different team now. If they get blown out tonight, stepping up in class, then that's going to be a huge indicator for the rest of the season for me. But to me, I think that this team is vastly improved from what they were a month ago. And I think the line is not warranted to answer your question.
It's Marco D'Angelo, WagerTalk.com, talking some college hoops. Don't forget, Marco does have a big 5% side play for the NFL Super Bowl, as we mentioned, and it is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. These are the 2 biggest college basketball games tonight. We just talked Virginia, Duke at 7 Eastern on ESPN. At 9 o'clock Eastern right afterwards will be a Big 12 battle, Kansas and Texas. And Marco, I started my college basketball top 25 Saturday video this past weekend, and I talked about both of these teams because they both had huge games this past Saturday, and they both had huge wins. I mean, which one was better on Saturday? Kansas beating Baylor as a small favorite, 83-59, or Texas beating a decent Iowa State team who also was a top 25 opponent by 22, 63-41, held them to 28.5% shooting. And here again, we got a really good slow half-court team in Texas against a Kansas team that likes to play faster. So kind of similar to the last game we just talked about. What are you looking at here? Kansas, a slight favorite actually now at Texas.
I think the wrong team's favorite, to be honest with you. Kansas is the name, obviously, in college basketball, and you're paying the price for that, especially since they had that big win on Saturday over Baylor, another top 10 team in which they destroyed them. But this Kansas team, to me, that was a big game for them on Saturday for several reasons. Obviously, the battle for first place in the Big 12. But just 7 days before that, they were embarrassed at home. Kentucky blew the doors off of Kansas at Kansas, something that doesn't happen. And I think it was an 18-point final. And to be honest, it really wasn't even that close. They were out early in that game, was Kentucky, and never looked back. I look at this one, and I like the home side here. As I said, I think they should actually be favored. And this is, again, one of those teams that's playing good basketball at the right time of the season. They've won 4 of their last 5. Now, the one game that they lost was 2 games ago, and it was an ugly-looking loss. They lost by 13 on the road. They gave up 77 points. But that was against Texas Tech. And I'll tell you, Texas Tech was highly motivated for that game because you had all of those kids that Chris Beard recruited and then bolted for Texas. They wanted to stick it to them, and they had a big game. And that was the only bad game. You look at the other 4 games in the last 5, this team has allowed 51, 50, 51, and 41 points. You talk about shutdown defense, and Chris Beard, first-year coach at Texas, they're learning his system. Teams get better as the season goes on whenever they are a young team at the beginning or a new head coach comes in there and you got to learn the style. Because remember, most of the guys on that team weren't his recruits. I like Texas in this spot. I'm going to fade Kansas off the big game. And this is a team that's 14-1 straight up at home this year. I'll go ahead and take Texas.
Real quick, I just wanted to note that we are seeing money for Virginia right now. So if you want to take advantage of Marco's recommendation on the Cavaliers, get to the window sooner rather than later. That line just got hit. Texas has been a dog 3 times this year, 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. Does that concern you in this meeting?
Well, again, I'm throwing out the last one because of the Texas Tech, scenario there. And the other ones, Teddy, I'm looking at the schedule. They had to be way back there in December. So I don't see any
Seton
recent
Hall
ones.
in December, and they lost to what was the other one? Texas Tech, and the third one was Gonzaga.
Okay, yeah, Gonzaga, and again, at the beginning of the season, as I said, new coach, new system, learning it, playing better now. That's how you got to adjust. And the public, they remember what they see, and sometimes they see something early on, and they can't forget it. They can't undo their eyes, and they keep, banging the team. This is not the same team that we saw in December.
Yeah, once again, these are the 2 biggest college basketball games of the night. Both are on ESPN National TV at 7 and 9 Eastern. Marco likes Virginia, currently 11.5, but as Teddy said, it's dropping to 11 in some spots. And Texas currently a 1.5-point home dog in the nightcap there. Marco, you have a big 5% NFL Super Bowl best bet on the side. It's $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. What else is going on?
We've got an all-access package for Monday basketball, guys. We've won 7 of the last 9 days, and I've hit 7 of my last 8 plays rated 4% and higher. You're going to get my entire card on Monday for just $9, and it will have a 4% in the package. So head over to WagerTalk.com right now to check it out.
That's Marco D'Angelo, WagerTalk.com. Thanks for joining us, Marco. 20 seconds. Teddy, you're back. Big game breakdown. Now we're shifting to the NBA. Hornets and Raptors. 20 seconds, big game breakdown.
Tokyo Brandon's resume in Asian baseball is quite impressive. 2021 number 1 overall profit leader, up 217% in profit, 61% in KBO, and 59% in Japanese baseball. For a limited time, you can lock in KBO from the start of the season in April through the championship in November 2022. And as an added bonus, we'll include any Japanese baseball played during your KBO All Access for the super early bird price of only $4.99. To make the added bonus juicier, we will also include any MLB plays during your access for free. To purchase all of these sports during this time frame, it would cost you over $1,300, but by locking yourself in early, we are dropping the cost all the way down to $4.99.
time for today's big game breakdown. Let's go to the association for Monday night and talk about two teams that have been heading in opposite directions in recent contests. That would be the Toronto Raptors and the Charlotte Hornets. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. I'm seeing Toronto -2, total 224.5. So there is a little bit of under money coming for this game. And at a couple of books right now, we are seeing Toronto down to -1.5. My core handicapping philosophy is as simple as it gets. I want to ride hot teams and fade cold ones before the markets catch up to current form. Not here, though. This is one instance where the circumstance for Charlotte really stands out tonight. And every quote coming out of Toronto is fat and happy. Look, the Raptors just beaten the Hawks twice, the Heat twice, and an overtime win over Chicago last Thursday. Bulls and the Heat, the top two teams in the Eastern Conference. Pascal Siakam, quote, I think we should feel pretty good. Definitely some tough games out there against really good teams in the East. These are the teams we want to face every single night. The games came at us pretty fast. I like the way we responded in every single game. Of course, last time out was their 5th in 7. This will now be their 6th in 9. They're as fat and sassy, or however you want to describe it, as you can find. This is not a circle the wagons game for Toronto, and I would not be surprised if they're a step slow. And oh, by the way, they're coming off a game despite their tired legs. They came out and hit 12 of 21 from three-point range in the first 3 quarters in their most recent victory. I do not expect that tonight with tired legs. Meanwhile, Charlotte, 4 straight loses. The last 3 of them coming at home. The quotes coming out of this locker room, James Borrego, quote, you just got to find a way back on Monday night. It's a tough league. You fight your way through it. I think that's the key. You stick together. You have to stick together. This group has done that. The whole key here is be resilient and stay together. There's no chemistry issues in Charlotte right now. They're outclassed a little bit by Phoenix. They're outclassed when they step way up. Tonight, a Raptors team is a little bit fat and happy. No surprise here if Charlotte gets the outright upset. This is one for taking the points. This is one for taking the money line. It's a game I expect the Hornets to win. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, and shop around currently 1.5s and 2s, mostly +2s with Charlotte. You're getting them about +105 money lines. So, Teddy, you'd rather get the extra 5 cents off even money, or would you rather the +2, do you think, at that price?
This is the game I expect them to win. If you shop around, you may find a little bit better than +105.
Got you. So he likes the live dog, the Charlotte Hornets at home against the Raptors, who have been playing well, but really have been up and down all season. It seems like it's good, bad, good, bad. So we'll see how the Raptors show up tonight. International matchup there. Hey, speaking of international, didn't even mean to do that segue, Teddy. It was just natural. We've got the best international handicapper in the world, no pun intended. We talk about the big sports, college basketball, pro basketball, NFL, Super Bowl, right? But the international sports, the money is just as green. It cashes in dollars as well. And last year, nobody won more money at WagerTalk.com than Tokyo Brandon. And he's number 3 already this year in 2022. Brandon, great to have you. We're going to transition not into Asian baseball or basketball, but some European basketball. I know Asian baseball, though, your specialty is right around the corner. You do have early bird specials for both Korean and Japanese baseball. And let's hope we have MLB, right? But this might be the year to be playing Korean and Japanese baseball. Early bird special is up. But first, let's look at some European basketball. Start us off with Olimpia Milano and Zalgiris tonight. Over under a team total on them is 69.5 points. How are you looking at the team total there?
Yeah, nice to see you, Steve. Nice to see you, Teddy. I could be cornering the market in baseball if the major league players and owners don't get their acts together. But tonight in EuroLeague, there's 2 games that I like in particular, and the first one is Milano and Zalgiris. And Zalgiris is a bottom feeder. They're a terrible team. They average only 69, and Milano gives up about 70 a game. So just the numbers straight up would say that this line is right on par. But if you look a little deeper, you'll see that in their last 5, Milano has been keeping even really good teams under 70, and this is not a really good team. So I would chop off about 5 points off that total, and my numbers have it at 63. So I'm going to go with the Zalgiris total under 69.5.
So, I mean, Does it concern you when you're picking team totals that are under 70, even with 10-minute quarters? I know they're a bottom feeder, but we're talking about, under 70 points. Isn't that low?
Yeah, and these players, if they were any good, they'd be playing in the US, right? So, even the good teams are not that good, but the difference between these leagues and the leagues in the US is there's a lot of disparity between the top teams and the bottom teams. So the bottom teams are really bottom, and that goes for Asian leagues like China as well. So no, I feel quite comfortable taking this even under 70 in a 10-minute quarter game.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I mean, that's exactly college basketball, right? We play two 20-minute halves.
Exactly.
That's a 40-minute game. And you look at the totals on the two games we're talking about for Tuesday afternoon. By the way, folks, these games are Tuesday afternoon, February 8th. So you've got about a good full 24 hours to still get these plays in, even if you're watching this here on the archive on Monday night, Tuesday morning. They both go a little bit around 12:45, 1 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday afternoon in EuroLeague. Total in that game is about 148. Next game we're talking about is about 153, right? That's in the college basketball range, and teams get high 60s,
Correct.
low 70s in college hoops. So like that team total under. Let's look at the other game on the board for Tuesday afternoon in EuroLeague. And this is Real Madrid, not soccer, basketball, right? And they're playing a Fenerbahce. I think I said that one right. And what are you looking at in this one? Another team total there.
I tried to assist you with the pronunciation.
I know. I was going to say, he gave me the pronunciations and phonetics, but I need phonetics for the phonetics. I need a pronunciation for the pronunciation.
You're really good, Steve. Much better than Prez trying to pronounce my Chinese basketball names.
It's not saying much.
But anyway,
so
we got
Real Madrid and Fenerbahce.
Fenerbahce, yeah.
Fenerbahce.
And Fenerbahce is one of those kind of, middle toiling, sub-mediocre teams where Real Madrid is the top dog in the league. And, they've played 2 times already, and this team scored 69 and 67 on Real Madrid. They only average 72 per game. So all of my indicators in this, including the team totals, averages for their last 10, etc., say this total of 75.5 for Fenerbahce is way too high. So I'm going to be putting a 3% play, and I already sent this to my clients about, 6-7 hours ago. Fenerbahce team total under 75.5. I don't know if the line has moved since I put it out, but I would play this under anything 74, 73 range if it's moved.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
So I want to ask you this real quick, Brandon. When it comes to EuroLeague basketball, is it a 24-second shot clock? What's a shot clock here? We know about how long the game is with the 10-minute quarters, but the shot clock obviously is going to have a pretty big impact on these totals. And I don't know what the answer is. What's the shot clock? 24 or 30?
24. Yeah, 24. And so, but there are teams that play high pace. There are teams that play low pace. And, like I said earlier, the discrepancy between the good teams and the bad teams is really big. On the last time I was on the show, you asked me, does it concern you laying like 25 points, 29 points? In these Euro leagues and Chinese leagues, I have no problem laying 20 plus points because they really show no mercy when they're up. As a matter of fact, I got a play right now in the Adriatic European League, which I'm watching the score right now. I got a 3% play out, and one team's winning 45-24, and they just keep piling and piling. So it's not like a merciful game like sometimes in the U.S. because even the bad teams are pretty talented in the U.S., whereas in Europe and in China, the bad teams are bad, really bad.
Yeah, and it's a betting market too, where that probably isn't necessarily factored in instantly, like in the NFL or something, when there's so much public money. You can probably ride against those teams a little bit longer, and we even see that. We just talked about in college hoops, Providence, NC Wilmington teams have been just outperforming all season. Lesser league, lesser tier conferences and leagues, I think those streaks ride a little bit longer, good and bad. Tokyo Brandon, though, of course, is known for baseball. And before we let you out here, Brandon, what do you got going here for Asian League Baseball? When does it start? I know you have an early bird special at WagerTalk.com. Let people know about that.
Yeah, I do. Thanks. The Japanese season starts on March 25th, and the Korean season starts on April 2nd. As a matter of fact, the rumor has it in the WagerTalk rumor mills that Adam, Trigger, and I might be doing a KBO show when the season starts. So stay tuned for that. As far as my early bird special, you can get my Japanese plus Korean seasons combined for only $4.99 for the entire season. I won 63% in KBO and I won 59% in Japanese baseball, and that's with 500 plus bets over the season. So it's a pretty good deal. $4.99, you can get my KBO and Japanese baseball combined, and those seasons are starting on March 25th. So jump on that. Just go to Tokyo Brandon's WagerTalk page. You don't need a promo code. Just scroll down and find the early bird special and put it in your cart.
And once again, nobody won more money in 2021. He's third already in 2022. And Teddy, if you look at the last 365 days combined, he's won over 320% profit. That's over a 3-time increase in your bankroll in 1 year. And these are sports that most people probably are not playing on their own. It's not NBA, NHL, it's international sports. So Tokyo Brandon, this is the time to get on board that early bird special, both Korean and Japanese baseball all season for $4.99. No promo code needed. Tokyo Brandon, WagerTalk.com. And now let's get back to the States. Let's look at some NFL Super Bowl action. Props came out last Thursday. Teddy, I know you were at the prop release party at the Westgate. They've been out at other books, trickling all week long. This is the week now to start looking at props. So let's start it off right. Let's have a little do's and don'ts from Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com. Because, Brian, if you're going to play props, you better do it right? Because it's like anything. You're playing with fire a little bit. There's a lot of rope to hang yourself with, if you will, but there's also a lot of opportunity to make money. So, Brian, start us off. Thoughts on props in the Super Bowl?
I appreciate it, guys, and it's nice to be on the show with so many people I like and respect, and even Marco. By the way, in the do's, the first thing I'm going to talk about is read the prop description carefully. It could be graded differently based on the interpretation. For example, I was looking at one yesterday. It was Super Bowl winning margin against Alex Ovechkin shots. It didn't say Alex Ovechkin shots on goal. It just said Alex Ovechkin shots. So there's lots of shots in a hockey game to get blocked. He could have 10. His normal shots on goal are around 5. You want to make sure that you know what that means. Most of the other sports books that I saw, if they're doing Ovechkin as shots on goal, this one I won't mention the sports book, but it did not mention that. So it's an offshore situation, and they can take your money. You got to be able to read everything through and make sure you understand the prop before you bet it. Second one, play favorites and overs early, play dogs and underdogs late. If you're looking to play the favorites and the overs, you probably missed the boat. Everybody, you talked about being down at the Westgate, Teddy. Everybody down there, I'm sure, was hitting that early. That's what they do. And as the week goes on, you want to play the unders. And after it's pumped up, that's the way you make money. Another thing I'd take a look at is have more minus props than plus props. What I mean is everyone likes to get the big payoff, but few are willing to lay the high price, which provides yearly value in the minus props. For example, no overtime, all those type of things, no missed extra point, that kind of stuff. Nobody wants to lay a 16-1 prop knowing it should be 32-1, but they have no problem getting the plus money on it. It's sort of like if you're playing in a casino, everybody who's playing the slot machine, they're playing it to win big. But the people who walk away from slots with any money, if they do, is the ones playing the video poker. So that's why most locals in Vegas play video poker. Most people from out of town play the slots. You want to get the big payoff, make sure you've got a lot of minus numbers on your props, not the plus numbers, and you'll put yourself up in a better situation. And shop around for the best numbers. Scalps and arbitrage numbers are out there. You want to have as many outs as possible. This is the most important time of the year to load up your accounts, because you're going to get, every sports book right now is 4.5, 48.5, 49 on the game. You could find major differentials in the props, and that's how you make money on the Super Bowl. And put your money in your apps ahead of time, so you aren't wasting time standing in line between so many people trying to get a bet in, and there's a half an hour line. By the time you get to the front, it's gone. Make sure you get all your props ready. Make the larger part of your portfolio off props and not game lines. Side and totals right. There's value on the props. We just spoke about that. And late in the week, you're much better likely to find an alternative line value A lot of people don't pay attention to that. It doesn't move the same everywhere else. So you can get nice alternative line value in the dues. You want to take a look at that late in the week.
So, Bri, one thing I want to touch on with you, and you brought up the concept of the better bettors are laying juice. They're playing favorites on these props. They're laying the minus 180. You talk about the big ones like safety and no overtime and all of that, where you're laying $9 or minus 1,000 on the nose for those. But it's not just those props. It's also the minus 180s and the minus 220s and the minus 240s that the wise guys are consistently betting on Super Bowl Sunday. Now, normally we think of the concept of, the pros don't want to lay juice. They're looking for live dogs. Explain why the pros here are willing to lay a price much more than they would be at other times of the year.
Well, they're trying to get it at any time. It's like in baseball. Just because there's a $4 favorite doesn't mean it's not bettable. It should be a $6 or $7 favorite. That's what the pros do. They may come out and say that they're looking to play dogs, and we all take a look at dogs early on. But what you want to do is go where the value is. And if somebody makes the line minus $3, everybody comes in. They want to take that plus, $2 or whatever, come back, depending on where it's at. They want the plus money. So all of a sudden, the minus $3 is the correct number, gets bet down to minus, 240 for a $3 favorite. You've got value at the end of the week playing those overs, and that's what they'll do. Is they'll come back at the end of the week and lay the unders. They'd be looking for the unders later on in the week because all the overs are pumped up, and they have no problem. How many years? Sure, the overtime hit 3 years. It went like 40 years before it hit at all. I mean, these things happen. You got to know your numbers to be able to win, and that's important. So I just want to touch on some of my don'ts also, not as many, but first of all, obviously, don't bet over your head. It's just one game. Too many people put all their eggs in one basket. Don't do that. Don't get caught up in the narratives of this game. It's already under the line. Everybody knows what's going on from each team. It's been all over the press. It's the most watched game in the league all season long. Everybody knows everything about the Super Bowl. Don't think you found something Saturday night that nobody's talked about all the last 2 weeks. And don't expect much, if any, home field advantage for the Rams. They're listed as the road team in this game. They'll be staying in the visitors' locker room. That's one disadvantage. Also, their fans won't be there. All these fans who go into the games are all corporate fans. They don't care who's going to win in that game. So you have no home field advantage other than you play on the same field. And really, a half a point is probably all you're going to get here. So those are some don'ts also to go along with the do's I had mentioned earlier.
So just real quick, Brian, and this isn't a question, but or you may or may not. But I've heard that SoFi has 3 locker rooms. The Chargers have one, the Rams have one, and the visitors have one, so that the Rams would actually be in their normal locker room this week. I do not have that independently confirmed. I just heard that for what it's worth.
I had heard that they're Cincinnati is the home team. Cincinnati will be in. I don't know if it's that's what I have heard. We won't know until actual game time. But the whole point is they're going to be on the opposite side of the field. It'll be a little bit different feeling for them. The home field, there really isn't any home field advantage in this. And a lot of people are talking about that. Well, they want to bet on the Rams. They're the home team. Doesn't work that well in the championship. Those games don't go to the fans. Those tickets don't go to the fans. Excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think San Francisco would have had more of a home field advantage. I was thinking to myself when the 49ers were making so much noise the other week in that NFC title game that if they hold on to win this thing, they're going to have more of a home field advantage in SoFi than the Rams or the Chargers would have had. So that's the LA crowd for you. I do think there's a little bit of experience edge. Rams were there 3 years ago, I guess, McVay at least. But, Stafford wasn't the quarterback. He has no more experience than Burrow. In fact, make an argument Burrow has more big game experience in the past few years since he was at LSU for that national title game. So at most, maybe the experience factor is 1 point. But I agree, you got to be careful with home field. Brian, great do's and don'ts. You hit on all the ones I would have mentioned. I always say sports betting, picking the right side or total is only third. It's about money management and shopping for line value. And as you said, there's never a more important time to shop for line value than with props, because like in the good old days, you're going to find a lot of variance. You don't see that anymore in game sides and totals. And then, of course, money management. We didn't dig too much into that. I touched on it at the beginning of the show. You have to be so careful not to overexpose your bankroll. You never want to overexpose yourself in life, Bryan, as you know, Marco D'Angelo knows. But you also want to be careful with your bankroll, because if you like everything to be high scoring and all of a sudden you have all these props over yardage, you've got a five times exposure on maybe one correlation that you didn't realize. So money management, line value, shopping around is more important than ever with props. Hey, speaking of making money, I talked about Tokyo Brandon was number one in 2021. Well, guess what? Bryan Leonard, he's third this year because you're number one in 2022. Number one in NHL, number two in college hoops. We're talking Super Bowl with you. What you got going on $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, we've got a top play in the NHL. Currently number one on the season NHL profit. We've got a top play in college basketball. Number two on the season in college basketball. It's just been a great 2022. Everything's rolling for us right now. I did have a loser yesterday. Haven't had too many back-to-back losing days in 2022, and in fact at the end of 2021 also. So two nice plays there. You get them both $9 each on $9 Monday.
And it's quite simple. It is $9 Monday, as Bryan said, for each and everybody at WagerTalk.com. Don't forget, Teddy's got a big 5% Super Bowl best bet on his page right now. I've been number one in the past 2 years. I've got a strong $9 college play tonight. Also, my Super Bowl best bet as well. Teddy, we'll do this every day, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, all week, Super Bowl talk here on Wager Talk Today. Teddy, you've got opening line report prop style, so you just got the do's and don'ts. Now you're going to get even more information from Teddy Covers at the top of the hour with Drew Martin right here on Wager Talk TV. Teddy, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Monday edition. We'll do it again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. Stay tuned for the opening line report, as Steve just said. And between now and tomorrow morning, enjoy the games and good luck.
Fan of Super Bowl props, but not in Las Vegas for the big game? Hosting a Super Bowl party and want to keep everyone entertained? Wager Talk has you covered with our Super Bowl party prop sheet. The concept is simple and is easy for anyone to participate and follow. First, download and print out our Super Bowl 56 party prop sheet. Pass out to everyone at your Super Bowl party and determine the entry fee, if any, and payouts. All they have to do is circle their choices for each prop. And since almost all of them are 50-50, it does not require someone to be a huge football fan or understand sports betting to participate. To get your free Super Bowl party prop sheet, just go to wt.buzz/props and follow us on Twitter at WagerTalk the day of the big game to get results in real time.